and we all cry. How can you watch the violence that erupts before your eyes? You can't even grab a hold of when we're hanging oh so loose. You don't even listen to us. When we talk, it ain't no use. Leave your thoughtlessness behind you. Then you may begin to understand. Cleave the emptiness around you with the waving of your hand. That was a wonderful remark. I had my eyes closed in the dark. I saw a million sides. I told a million lies to myself. To myself. Oh, 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 oh. Now how can we listen to you when we know that your talk is cheap? How can we never question why we give more and you keep? How can your empty laughter fill a room like ours with joy when you're only playing with us like a child does with a toy? How can we ever feel the freedom of the flame lit by the spark? How can we ever come out evil when reality is stark? That was a wonderful remark. Listen, how can you tell us something just to keep us hanging on? Yeah. Something that just don't mean nothing. When we see you, you are gone, clinging to some other rainbow, while we're standing waiting outside in the cold, telling us the same sad story, knowing time is growing old. Touch your world up with some color, dream you're swinging on a star. Taste it first, then add some flavor. Now you know just who you are. That was a wonderful remark. Yeah. I had my eyes closed in the dark. to myself. Oh, right on. I have my eyes closed in the dark. Right on. I sang a million sides. I told a million lies to myself. All right. To myself.
Well sung, well played.
Awesome.
But sadly, the flute player's name is not mentioned.
Yes.
This is a song where it should have clearly been
Primary
a case where Van Morrison should have had the decency to feature the flute player's name.
The flute player.
It sounded like a live performance. I could be wrong, but it sounded like it was
sound.
live. The flute player's name, without that flute sound, this would have been an ordinary listen for me.
True.
Quite honestly.
It is true.
Because it was far too intense for my liking without actually revealing the plot. So somebody who does not understand what he's talking about will be feel totally disconnected by the end of it, as I was. But it was a flute sound that kept me interested. And then towards the end, that bit, making it a little playful and light, some play therapy for the audience. That was what was interesting for me. But sadly, it should have been Van Morrison featuring the name of the flutist, the flute player over here. And that's what I'll do. That's what we'll do.
You'll find out?
We'll try to find out the flute player and mention featuring this.
Yeah.
That's a good lesson to the Westerners who completely discredit all these people who have such a pivotal role to play in these people's lives. Van Morrison's life, in making him Van Morrison. Yeah.
It was delightful to listen to in 1 year, constantly the flute playing. There were other instruments playing too, primarily guitars, etc. But it was the flute, and it was the flute, and it was the flute that I was more interested in, and I was literally smiling every time. It was half Van Morrison, but half flute. And if something
I would say 3/4 the flute.
If something is that equivalent.
For me, 1/4 Van Morrison and the guitar sound, acoustic guitar. 3/4 was the flute. Without the flute,
delightful.
this would be a bland, more or less boring
I
song.
can't imagine how it would be.
Because it was so long. If it was 3
lyrics
minutes,
are
it would have still been an interesting listen. But when it went beyond 3 minutes without the flute, it would be boring.
It was awesome to listen to the flute, and the flute player definitely needs to be acknowledged in this one. Sometimes, a lot of music is there and you don't know who was better. But here it was clearly somebody who was the showstopper. So he or she, whoever it was, needs to be acknowledged. The song felt quite deep. Generally also, I think Van Morrison, he likes to dig deeper into things, and he takes his own sweet time in elaborating and going with his own pace of unfolding the song.
Yeah, it went like, how can you stand the silence that pervades when we all cry? How can you watch the violence that erupts before your eyes? how can you not give credit to the flute player that played in our ears?
Yeah. And
That's
something
how it
that
goes.
just don't mean nothing.
Yeah, that's how it goes. And then once again he repeated, how can I not give credit to the flute player that played this so beautifully? How can I not give credit
There are more
to the
questions,
flute player that played so amazingly
Yeah.
and made me sound so much better? How can we not, how can we be so quiet when the flute player is completely invisible? How can we be so quiet when the flute player is completely ignored?
How can we listen to you
In the credits.
when we know your talk is cheap? How can we ever question why we give more and you keep? So I do need answers to all of these questions. As
I
Van
remember,
Morrison asked.
to be fair, I remember when this big song we heard, much bigger than this. It was a huge hit, I remember. Tony Braxton's Unbreak My Heart, if I'm not mistaken. And there also I was very, very clear that without that guitar, the acoustic guitar playing throughout, and the beautiful tunes it played on its own too, without that, that song was nothing. It was just an ordinary singer. Any female singer, more or less, could have pulled that off. What Tony Braxton did, it was purely the guitar for me and for many other people, I'm sure millions. But the guitar player's name was not mentioned there. Here also, for me, it was mainly the flute player's sound, that flute sound that made it for me. Otherwise, I would have been very critical of lyrics like that, which are completely leading towards nonsense. You know, just going up against something and not revealing what that something is.
Wonderful remark.
Yeah. So it's very good to do that.
With an exclamation.
Without being very revealing about who you're talking about. So there, I'm sure for who listen to Van Morrison a lot and probably later on in the album, they may know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He may have revealed it in an interview or in the somewhere or the other. But we don't know. We are listening to it way after he's dead and gone. So we have no clue what he's talking about here. We all know that it's quite intense, but that flute sound, that is what made it memorable for me. If I remember this song few days from now also, it will be purely because of the flute sound, not because of Van Morrison.